Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. It's Friday afternoon. We're embarking on a great weekend coming up. A few news stories today that I have to bring to you are the House passes the controversial spying bill as Speaker Johnson overcome all of the GOP objections to this. And in some of the hearings that took place about these objections were less than lackluster. The responses from the people that are involved in this situation of these passing, not the passing of the act, but the actual people that are going to be doing the spying, were less than forthcoming in who, what, where, and when. Didn't answer the questions didn't answer the questions without going round and round in circles and giving word salad in place of a yes or no answer in most cases. Jerry Nadler actually said some good things during it, which was a surprise to me because we all know how I feel about old Jerry. And like the sign says, I don't approve of political jokes. I've seen too many of them getting elected, and we have experiencing that right now. In the news cycle today, let's see, there's, of course, O.J. Simpson has passed away. I'm sure you've all heard that, and all the nonsense that's coming with it about the families now not getting their money because he passed away, and now the lawsuits will begin. So I expect that to take over quite a bit of the news cycle upcoming, and they'll use that to cover up the nonsense that's going on right now between Iran and Israel, which will no doubtably suck us right into a war escalating well beyond the Middle East if these people get their way. We cannot sustain being involved in more than one front at a time militarily because of our coffers being depleted, number one. And number two is that we're at an all-time low in our stores of munitions in certain categories of munitions that are at a low well past that previous to World War One. And we no longer have the capability to start making things overnight like we did back in World War II, and toward the end of World War One, we can't produce in the same fashion that we used to be able to. A lot of that is due to our manufacturing processes being depleted and pushed out over the country, and in most cases relocated in people who are now becoming our enemies, such as China. China and the drugs that are being made there now that we're reliant on for our population's health. China and India, we've moved everything there. We no longer are producing in this country as we used to, and if you listen to some of the people that are in charge of trying to kill farming, they want to go after our food now and no longer produce that here unless it's a lab-produced thing. And God only knows what lab will be producing that. Let's just hope it isn't Wuhan. We all know what they're capable of producing, and we all know about our government employees that funded it with no consequence. Just need to fund it. There's a conservative clash with Trump on leaving abortion up to voters. That's where it belongs. As I said before, abortion is not a political football or something to be used to win an election or to gain votes from a certain percentage of a population. It is a woman's choice, number one, and number two, it is the state's responsibility to pass their own laws. The government has no business in being involved in the abortion business, and we should not be funding anything to do with that and running for office based on that. It's not a government choice deal. It's a woman's choice. And it's just not a political football that they're making it into. But if you think about it, that's all the Democrats have left to hang their hat on. Because they have screwed up the economy to a point where you can't afford to live. I just talked to a person recently that said that their kids can't move out of the house because they can't afford $1,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. And that's in Appalachia. Could you imagine having to find an apartment in Nashville or LA or New York City? My God, how can people afford to live on a job that pays $20, $30 an hour? It's eaten up in rent, and the rest, what's ever left over, is going to food to feed the family. They're trying in this country, the people in power who do not want to leave power want to break up the families. They want to pit us against each other by race. They want to pit us against each other now by religion, and so on and so on. We need to be cognizant of what's going on around us. They tell you one thing about how great the economy is, and yet the redacted numbers come out, and then they make the announcement that inflation has increased, not decreased. But Joe comes out every day and tells you how great everything is. It's not. It's almost unaffordable for a young person today that marries and has a child or two children to feed them. The prices of groceries have gone up by double-digit percentages. How can you sustain that? Little mom and pop stores are going out of business. They can't afford to stay in business. Even the dollar stores are threatening shutdowns in major cities because of theft. People are shoplifting because they can't afford to feed their families in some cases. Not to add in the fact that we have millions of illegal immigrants that decided that they can just load up a shopping bag and walk out of a store without paying. And now Joe is flying Haitians in so they don't have to be stopped at the Florida border because their governor has a brain in his head and decided that they didn't want that influx of Haitians, unvetted Haitians, coming into his state. So Joe sends airplanes down to fly them into Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and places around that. And there's already, the court systems are seeing these people. And they release these people to go out and do damage to people that are our citizens. Which brings me to today's news. Another police officer shot to death in Memphis by people who were caught with automatic weapons just a scant month ago, went through the court systems and were released into the streets to kill a police officer. And now there's another family without a father, without a husband, and we're one less policeman left in Memphis to protect the population there. When is Joe and Alejandro going to be held accountable for this kind of criminal behavior? It's not helping. They view it as votes coming in over the border. They don't care about you or me or any of our families. And it's time that we wake up and decide to protect what we know is a constitution that works and has worked in this country all along until it decided to become dismantled by a Sololensky devotee by the name of Barack Obama, who now his legacy is being carried forward by his old vice president, who, by the way, is not running things. And if you think he is, just take a look at the TV. Listen to anything he speaks. And now it's out in public that all the answers from the questions are given to him on a piece of paper that he reads from. And he only calls on the reporters that are listed on that piece of paper because they have the questions that he knows they're going to ask, and they give him the answers for it. It's so obvious, and it's in your face, and people are not understanding this because MSNBC and The View tells them differently. The View's take on racism is unbelievable. The division of this country by race is being promoted by the White House right now in front of your eyes. And all this LGBTQ stuff that they're trying to push through in the name of diversity is not working to protect this country and the Constitution of this country. They want to fundamentally change it to where we're going to lose our nation. They're trying to take God out of the state. Separation of church and state is one thing, but when you turn your back on Jesus Christ and the Father, you're losing. You need to go back to your religion, understand the Bible, read, be informed, and pray every day, because we're in some trouble in this country right now, and so is the world. If you look at what's happening between Iran and Israel right now, there could be World War III starting within the next 24 hours based on what the rhetoric is coming out of Iran right now in the mullahs. You have a government seating Congress people like the Squad that have lied to get in this country and got elected to a position, and now they want to control from their seat a narrative that does not fit what this country was founded upon. And it's becoming so obvious now that what they used to hide from us, they now tell you to your face. It's so obvious that it's right there. It's in front of your eyes, and you have to take a look at it, and you have to remember this, and remember each of these congressmen that let this, and especially the speaker, because that controversial spying bill takes away your Fourth Amendment rights. They don't want to have warrants. They just want to spy on you, walk into your home, and go to a, for no reason at all, other than that you may have talked to the wrong person or bought Sudafed from the wrong store, and that's their excuse to come into your home. This is not a good situation. And going back to the O.J. Simpson thing, I guess the man that was killed's father is threatening now for lawsuits because O.J. Simpson hasn't paid what he owes him, and I guess that's for him. It's all about money. O.J. Simpson may have been guilty. We don't know. A jury of his peers found him not guilty on the murders. But he's in front of the final judge in his life right now, and he has to answer to a higher power. And justice will be done as God sees fit. So if this takes over the news cycle now, it's just a cover-up to hide what's really going on over here and make you look here. And that's what mainstream media does, and we know this now. We're all cognizant of this. And if you're still watching mainstream media for your only source of news, you owe it to yourself to get onto YouTube, get onto Rumble, get onto X, and see what other people are saying, because Mainstream media is not going to be truthful with you. They carry a party line, and if you don't believe me, go somewhere where they sell TVs and put all of the news channels on the TVs that are on display. Start with NBC, ABC, CBS, and CNBC, and watch the headlines as they come up. They're all the same. That's what they're going to talk about, and that's what they're told to talk about. And you have actors, not journalists, telling you how you should think and what their opinions are. We are all capable of making our own decisions and seeing what we see and hear and disseminate it our own self. We don't need a talking head to tell us what to do and say. It's hard anymore to believe half of what you see and most of what you hear. Because now with the advent of AI and all this other stuff, that these deep fake things that are coming out, they can make people say anything they want, and it harms your health to watch media on a daily basis and take in what they do without making you sick. It's like the food that we have to have now that's processed. Due to the price of food, we buy lesser products that are processed products that will make you sick. Half of the drugs that are being advertised on TV today will make you sick in one fashion or another, rather than the cure that they're promising you to go ask your doctor for this and go ask your doctor for that. In some cases, it will kill you. So you have to be ever cognizant today of what you're taking in, both mentally and physically, and pray every day for help to come to bring this country back to the normalcy that we grew up in. My age group grew up in a normal home with normal behavior, and we weren't out shooting anybody. We weren't out stealing from stores. If you did, and you got caught, and you got taken to court, there was no release without bail. They gave you a choice. You can go to jail for this many days, or you can see that recruiter over there in the corner and join the army. And guess what most of the people I grew up with did that got in trouble? They went in the army and they got straightened out. But even that has changed now. You can't discipline anybody anywhere lest you trigger them or hurt their feelings. And this has got to stop. This is the timeout generation idea of parenting that did not work. It was a total failure. Communism and socialism are total failures. Get that through to your politicians that are asking you for a vote. If they're talking socialism behavior, don't vote for them, because we have enough of that right now. Trump made a visit to Atlanta the other day and was very well received. I guess they said he was at a Chick-fil-A and got a hug from one of the gals that worked there, and was very well received. They are catching on about what the Democrats have done for this country and done for certain populations in this country, and they're looking for a change. And hopefully, if he makes it through to November, I highly doubt that he'll be running against Joe Biden. I think there's a shadow candidate looming in the wings right now, being groomed, and we don't know how they're going to pull that off, but somehow they will, because his vice president can never, ever step up to take over that position. She's not capable of even doing the job that she's in right now. So they're going to come up with a shadow candidate someplace, and if not, they're going to face a loss in November unless they can find a way as they're trying to search on a daily basis to get rid of the candidate that's running against him. They're trying every trick in the book to do it, and I'm afraid that it's not over, and we're going to have to live through months and months of this torturous nonsense about who is going to get Trump next. I think this Fani Willis thing has blown itself up. I think that the New York case is going to blow itself up. There's too much coming out right now, and too many whistleblowers coming out of the three-letter agencies and so on that are letting the cat out of the bag finally. And there's some scared people that do not want to leave the power situations that they're in, and that includes Senate and congressional seats as well, because there's a lot of poor choices in there right now to continue the way we are. Now, this impeachment proceedings against Mayorkas, I mean, Schumer is fighting tooth and nail to keep that from happening, because he knows that when this stuff comes out in the hearing that they're asking the Senate to take over, it's not going to be good for the Democratic Party. And this is why he's fighting against this right now, and you need to be aware of that. They're scared. They're running scared, and when you take an animal that's really scared, that's when they become most dangerous. So with that, I'm going to leave that subject now, because I know it'll aggravate you as much as it aggravates me, but there's some nonsense about South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is banned from setting foot in 7,578.9 square miles of South Dakota. What? This is coming out of the Vanity Fair. Okay, so we'll take that with a grain of salt, because there's no sense in that at all, because Noem is on Donald Trump's short list for VP. And if that happens, they're going to ban her from the state that she's governor in? Not. You know, if it wasn't for lying in the news, they'd have no news at all. And how they cover up things, right from the Biden crime family on down to anything about Donald Trump or Melania Trump or anything they can get a hold of, and these people on The View are the most guilty of it. It's craziness, and you can't believe half of it. There's an idiot on The View that said that, actually made the statement that the solar eclipse was due to climate change. This is the mentality of the people who get housewives on a daily basis to tune into that show for their knowledge in current news. Come on. It's gotten to a point where it used to be funny, and now it's totally ridiculous. It's like Whoopi Goldberg comes out and says that if Donald Trump gets elected, all the black people will be put in chains and put back in slavery. This is something she actually said on The View. Had she done any research, she would realize that the Democrats were the party of slavery. But this isn't taught in school anymore. Education has failed in this country. It needs to be brought back to reality. To make a statement like that on national TV with the world watching is absolutely reprehensible. But no one monitors that. But let anyone else say something on the other side, it's all over the news about what a racist you are. It's incredible how they use race and religion to separate us all. but they're never going to separate the Christian people in this country from God and their religion and their Bible, because we understand that Christ is our Savior and we can go to Him for help if we pray and we're sincere, which we need to do every day. And we need to pray for these politicians to make the right decisions, other than lining their pockets with money through special interest groups. And we need to pray that our leaders do the right thing with regard to war and destruction of human life, because that alone is the privilege of the man upstairs. And it's the weekend. It's Friday, and we're looking forward to a little sunshine tomorrow. We actually had a hailstorm today. I was down in Johnson City and coming back. Everyone had to pull off the sides of the road. It came down hard and fast, and now we're going to get some thunderstorms right behind that this evening. But we're looking for a sunshine Saturday and Sunday, and hopefully, if everyone in the family feels good again, we'll be out and maybe go see some places that we can take the camera into. And until then, I'm going to have to say, have a great weekend. We love you here at the Kaiser Report, and remember, give us a like and share it. Bye now.